Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the AOC Pro Cup presentation of ADN Gaming versus MiTH-Trust. This is a best of 3 series between these two teams in day 2 of the Season 1 Pro Cup. So these two teams are actually fairly well matched in my mind. Very interesting to see these two teams in action. Of course, MiTH-Trust, the famous Thai team that has been active since, honestly, 2011. Like, they were in the first international with many of the same players on this roster. So they've been sticking together for a long time. That cooperative effort must definitely do them some favors here. But along those lines, ADN is also, although a new team in Dota 2, a team that has a lot of practice with one another. They've gone through the Heroes of New Earth professional scene, made some waves there, and then moved on to the Dota 2 scene, and for the most part have, as far as I understand it, the same roster as Orange Esports did in Heroes of New Earth. So should be a very, very interesting one. I've cast both teams before, ADN only once, MiTH-Trust plenty of times, but it should be interesting to see what these two teams are bringing, especially ADN, as they continue to evolve their own personal metagame, their own style, their own just find their form. So anyways, should be pretty interesting. Thank you guys so much for tuning in once again over on Dota Talk TV 2. I am Blaze, joined by Gongo Kyle. What's going on, man?
Hey, nothing much. Just excited to be back, causing some more Dota again. The first 2 games today were a bit, I guess we call them fun, but as you mentioned, this could be a lot more tight and a lot more interesting to cast. And yeah, MiTH-Trust, I had the pleasure of casting them earlier in the week. Fantastic team, as you mentioned, taking part in a lot of international tournaments and the international itself. Big Lacals fan over here, so hoping to see some more big things from him this game. And yeah, I kind of always I love to see the transition from teams that moved over from Heroes of New Earth and League of Legends and see how they cope in Dota 2. And yeah, interested to see what ADN can bring to the table. You say you've casted them before. I was reading a little bit in the chat. I never know if I can take the chat seriously or not, if they're trolling around or whatever, but they said that ADN are quite a strong team, so I'm hoping that they share our insights into this being quite a tight matchup between the two. I mean, immediately we see this Ember Spirit banned out, so perhaps MiTH-Trust are looking at something that we perhaps don't know, that ADN maybe are experimenting quite a bit with the Ember Spirit, or just taking it out because of its relative overpoweredness, I guess you can call it, in the current meta, putting it in that solo mid or safe lane farming role. And yeah, strong pickup first of all though, the next Assassin and Nagasar from MiTH-Trust, and the Visage Pugner being picked up by ADN, so maybe a little bit of push madness coming out here from ADN nice and early in the game.
Yeah, I mean, definitely have the potential for it. If they want to make it work for themselves, they can put some pressure out and make sure that if it is indeed a core Naga Siren, that it doesn't get to that Radiant stage fast enough to be too relevant. Because if we're talking like Lakel's split push style with a Radiant Naga Siren, that just gets extremely scary extremely quickly. So they probably know what they're up against here. They've done a little bit of research, and if they want to put some pressure out sooner, they certainly have the heroes to do it. So it looks pretty good, but yeah, I have seen ADN once. It was a recent Malaysia Cup, and they look pretty strong still. I mean, if you're trying to talk about if they're a top-tier team, I would still say they're finding themselves a little bit, but the cool thing is they're innovative about their drafts. They're not looking at, oh, well, we know these heroes are new with heroes, so we're just going to pick their direct ports and see what we can do. No, I saw them picking up Morphling, OD, Night Stalker. They really are kind of just throwing themselves into the deep end of the pool, and they're going to be throwing some interesting strategies our way. So I think it is going to be a very close match. We'll have to see exactly how close as we go through this one. It could still possibly go 2-0 one way or another, but I think it'll be kind of back and forth one way or another. So as the draft progresses, we do see a Darkseer banned out as well as Lone Druid. They were worried a little bit about that aspect of push potential, and we see that with the Dragon Knight as well. It's just hard lockdown with the Entangle with the Dragon Tail, but in conjunction with some amazing push potential that they're going to take off the field.
It's difficult going up against the Pugner as well, because you know, you're looking at
seconds remaining.
With that ward going down, a lot of blasts, a lot of creep clear, and the possibility of taking team fights sort of unexpectedly, having, as I mentioned, having that ward down, and I don't know where you could just wipe out 2-3 heroes and then get an extremely fast push. And as you mentioned, yeah, taking out the Lone Druid, taking out the DK, so they don't want to have that. And as you mentioned, there's the ban going out on the on the morphing. I'm just looking back quick. For some reason, my Dota's not really working that well. I'm trying to look because when I casted MiTH-Trust the other day, there was something. They drafted something, and I was like, "Whoa, this is interesting." But now I can't seem to find it. It was part of the Joint Dota League, but I'm struggling to see what it was now. But anyway, yeah. They want to get rid of that, and as you mentioned, I guess the one way to deal with this sort of the hard push, and they pick up the Luna as well, and Luna also gives you that ability with the change to glaives, sort of just bouncing everywhere now. They, when it comes to taking buildings, like I said, they take a quick team fight under the tower, under a tier 2, then quickly push into the tier 3. They can take that racks really quickly, and the one way to deal with the 5-man hardcore push is to pick up a hero like the Naga Siren, and if it is going to be played that sort of radiant split push style you spoke about, it's a possibility that is one way of dealing with it, and Nyx Assassin is there as well to disrupt the 5-man push if he does manage to get in there with the Vendetta right at the back. And I wouldn't be surprised if they do pick up something here to go alongside the Naga Siren with that big ultimate, something along the lines of a gyrocopter. Puck is still an option. They do go for the Batrider, so that's Batrider I haven't seen kind of fall out of favor since the nerf to his base damage, and also the range of the lasso, but. They're going for sort of a pick-off, so maybe they can grab a quick little pick-off in the middle of a big 5-on-5 team fight, but I think the Pugna might pose a massive problem, and sort of unforeseen problem here for MiTH-Trust.
Yeah, I mean, he is going to be able to provide a lot of push pressure with Nether Blast and sustainability over the fight, but fortunately for them, at least the Nether Wart isn't going to be doing all that much work. Batrider doesn't have that many high-cost mana spells, and Naga Siren can pretty much stay the same. So the Nyx Assassin will take a few hits here and there, but overall, I think that they're going to be okay against the Nether Ward for these 3 picks. Obviously, they still have to pick 2 more heroes that probably are a little bit more spellcast heavy, but we'll have to see. But the one really nice thing about this Batrider is that there's no real response. Unless the Vistas Familiars are like 100% on point, if you blink in and grab the Luna, all they've got is slows. You force staff yourself away, they have no hard lockdown, and you can just run away with their hard carried, bursting her down with Vendetta, and taking her out before the fight begins. So I really do like this strategy, and I think it most likely will force Luna into a position where she has to be extremely careful and can't step a toe out of line, or they're going to punish her hard. And now with this disruptor, it's even if you get the lasso and you pull her back, then the entire team groups up to try to help her out. That's when disruptor kicks in, kinetic, static, and you've got absolutely nothing going on.
Yeah. I have a question for you. I mean, I'm going to tap into my sort of lesser Dota knowledge at the moment. The Nether Ward counts as a structure or building in a sense, so they are unable to use the Naga Siren, Song of the Siren, and destroy the ward.
10 seconds.
Or are they
I think
able
they
to
could
do that?
technically. I don't know if that's the most valuable thing, but if they found that to be to their liking, then they absolutely could kill the ward while the Song of Siren is up. Sure.
Because you're talking about Disrupt, and I spoke about them not really having that many spells to cast in the middle of a team fight, but Disruptor, he has got some mana dependent spells. I mean, you're looking at 225 mana, 175 mana to rank 2 Static Storm. You're looking at some big spells as well. I mean, the rest don't really use that much. I guess Glimpse as well could be quite a big one. But what they've got going here is fantastic. I mean, teamfight, the Elder Titan's potential, that if he gets quick levels, and that's all he really needs. He doesn't necessarily need a lot of farm. Once he gets those combos up, once he gets the level 2, level 3 Echo Stomp comboed up with his Astral Spirit. And what's interesting enough about the Elder Titan, what I've seen a lot of the players doing recently is, I don't know if they'll do it this game, but what you notice is they'll run the Elder Titan Spirit forward, sort of through the creeps, and on the way pulling it back, they'll start charging the Stomp, because you don't really expect the Stomp to come with the Spirit on its way back. And that's quite a nice little gimmick with the Elder Titan that's sort of unexpected for setting up quite a big engagement. But the anti-mage pickup for Lacals, now that is interesting. Yeah,
that is certainly, if any hero can be ascribed to a single player, I would say anti-mage and Lacals go hand in hand. An awesome pickup. It does mean that Mashimaro is going to be running on the Naga Siren, so maybe we'll see that in a different role than expected, but still going to be a pretty interesting setup here, where they're going to be applying pressure in its own right with the core anti-mage and having the split push potential with the Battle Fury. He can, if he really wants to, blink in and kill another ward really quickly. Otherwise, he's just really good to tank through all the damage that ADN has set up. I mean, they're looking at the combination of Decrepify with Poison Nova and Soul Assumption and Eclipse, all this stuff amplified by Elder Titan. They're going for crazy magical wombo combo. And a individual like Anti-Mage can shrug that off for the most part once he gets a few good points in that spell shield. So get some raw durability with the Manta style strength, and this combined with the spell shield should be able to survive through most of this and feel pretty good about himself. Along with that, the Pugna doesn't really have a good response defensively to the Anti-Mage. Usually you look at a target and you're like, oh, I can just Decrepify myself if he's a right clicker, and that's perfectly fine. Or I can life drain him if he's a spellcaster, and that works too. But Slicks here is going to have his work cut out for him, because the second that he drops even half of his mana bar, if he puts Decrepify on himself, instantly Anti-Mage is going to ulti him, and that's going to take out pretty much everything he's got.
Yeah, and at the same time, I mean, you're looking at enormous team fights here, and that's the one thing an Anti-Mage is not really equipped to deal with in the early game. If the Anti-Mage does get a fantastic start in the bottom lane, manages to get that quick Battle Fury, heads up into the jungle, gets his Manta, and is, given a little bit of space to farm, maybe push a tower or two, and I think the rest of MiTH have what it takes to hold a team fight or 4v5. For the most part, I don't think Luna can sort of go for an adaptive build where he's able to where Luna's able to fight, alongside the team, reaching about the 50 to 20 minute mark. It's very possible for Luna to get a quick fast BKB. There's always the option of trades drums, and that gives her a lot more ability to fight in the early game. Anti-Mage, on the other hand, is not really a hero that can fight at that stage. Maybe just having a Battle Fury, just having a Yasha, he still is quite squishy and susceptible to damage from Poison Nova, as well as the Stomp coming out. So really everything, quite a bit of damage that can get thrown out here. Blast, they've got the Soul Assumption from the Visage, so he's and that'll see him in the early stages. We might commit a few extra levels to the spell shield, which is not really what you want from the Anti-Mage. You want to have that sort of flash ability to farm the jungle, to blink around, to push the towers. So it's going to be an interesting game to see how MiTH-Trust actually go about this. I'm kind of assuming that they are going to go for just absolute lane dominance in the beginning, give the Anti-Mage as much safe farm as he can, and then really just secure it into the mid game, allowing them to push as 4. However, the mid lane is going to be quite a strange matchup here. We're going to have Batrider up against the Pugna. And Pugna, relatively fast movement speed, sitting at about 320. I think a little bit quicker than the Batrider, which was actually one of the nerfs to him as well, dropping out on his movement speed quite a bit. And
30 seconds
he should have an okay time farming up against the Pugna, but I don't see him getting a lot of kills in the early stages.
No, I actually think Pugna's probably going to run away with the lane. Looking at the damage, 61 base damage compared to that of 42 for the Batrider, it's just no contest. If Slicks gets a magic stick for his maybe first 850 gold alongside the bottle, there's no way that he can be killed, and it gets really difficult for the Batrider to do anything of note. But going through the formal introductions as the horn sounds, let's look over at the lineup of MiTH-Trust. Once again, this is the AOC Pro Cup, and this is a best of 3 between these two teams in day 2 of the tournament. Starting off, we do see TNK is going to be supporting up on the Disruptor, just sitting on 1 Tango and getting some sentries up early. Now we do see, of course, there's going to be Lakel's running on the Anti-Mage. He's going to be carrying up on the bottom lane, and defending him is that Disruptor alongside Mashimaru, also known as Bloombell. That's an alias there, and he's running that support Naga Siren that we haven't seen much of in the most recent times, so it's pretty interesting to see. But yeah, as you mentioned, over on the mid lane, that is AABBAA, currently getting 1v2, though it looks like Venom's going to make his way up top, where Nyx Assassin lies. KYT running the off lane, boots first Nyx Assassin. Yeah,
that's going to give him quite a nice little start, and also maybe secure him a couple of levels, as there might be, no, just a little rest. Okay, well, running in there was the Venom, Mr. Ghost, captain of ADN. On the Visage, doing a little bit of pulling here, it's XXL. Oh.
Sorry?
Hold on. My stream just started up for some reason. Isolated on the Luna, and then it's going to be Polishima on the other side, and taking a little bit of harassment there from the Disruptor, and then finally in the mid, it's Slicks on the Pugna.
Now, because this is a relatively new team to most Dota 2 people, most people won't know the aliases. If I interchange them accidentally, I do apologize, but Mr. Ghost is also known as Applez Dreams Net. He's the one who came up with the team name, because that was one of his player names previously. XXL has also been known as Fish. Isolated is also known as WTF. One more, there was
MFC.
one more. Oh, Polishima was known as Konnichiwa previously as well. So, yeah, a lot of different names thrown out there. We tried our best to make sure that either the players were tagged up appropriately or that we had in the back of our heads a little bit more information about who these guys are as we learn about their playstyles a little more directly. So, should be a good match, a full best of 3 I'm hoping for, but we'll have to see as we're starting off a little bit of a slow start. Bloodless. To this point, we're just going to see some farming going on. 11 CS for the Batrider, surprisingly, so quite impressive there as AABBAA just spams out that napalm to make sure that he can get those last hits, offensively at the very least. And in turn, Lakel's getting 11 for 5 down the bottom lane, to be expected, and he'll be working towards his Battle Fury in quite an appropriate timing.
Yeah, I think this is sort of the best case for him, being able to secure a lot of safe farm, and as I mentioned, it does give MiTH a little bit of power.
Well, this is actually going to be bad for Elder Titan here. This is going to be a lot of damage coming in. They will ensnare him, have the kinetic if they need it, but I don't think they even do. The damage is there, and they will get the first blood, so that's a great start for them. They actually committed a smoke on their own lane because they weren't able to de-ward this Elder Titan previously, so yeah, that sets them up where they kind of give him a false sense of security, and they're able to punish him for it.
Yeah, that's perfect. Like I mentioned for MiTH-Trust, it's all about lane dominance here in the first part of the game. And speaking of that, we looked at ABBA or ABBA in the mid position, thinking he might have a tough time up against the Pugner, but he seems to be doing pretty fine. I mean, Batrider is not a terrible pick if you have a player who just absolutely knows how to run away with the hero. And in this case, ABBA could be maybe one of those guys that plays Batrider near perfectly and knows exactly what he needs to do to win a lane. And this could be the case here, but up against the constant sort of harassment from the Pugner, the blasts, and the pushing of the lane. Actually, it could be a death in the middle lane here.
Yeah, a lot of damage coming out here onto Slicks in a really bad spot, and with no magic stick, he's going to get punished really badly. BBA just won the mid lane. I don't even believe it. But now Elder Titan going to get dropped down. Just got pinned in again. I'm not sure if they committed another smoke, but they certainly got the positioning advantage they needed. But I'm just impressed with ABBAA on the mid lane, and a little sad that Slicks took so long to get the magic stick up. He's got Boots, Bottle, and Null Tally right now. It's almost like he wanted to skip that item, but it's just too crucial against a Batrider who can spam all that Nikki Napalm. Well, I failed that one. Sticky Napalm.
Oh, man.
Tongue twister.
Like I said, Batrider is still a fantastic pick if you have a player who knows exactly how to play him, and that was pretty much it. I mean, the creep wave was just cleared up on the high ground from Slicks blasting it up, and the tower sort of reciprocating and pushing the wave back, and ABBA sees the opportunity, jumps straight forward, and what's even worse now, he has got his Flaming Lasso up as well as a Haste Rune bottled up, so this could be another death for Slicks if he's not careful. Like, as you mentioned, still, no, actually, you thought he might get a magic stick, but still no magic stick available. He is heading off into the jungle. One thing I have noticed, and it may just be the games that I've casted, but if you look at international teams, taking specifically, let's look at Cloud9, formerly Speed Gaming, how they use the jungle, and it was a very, very interesting fact brought up last night by Toby that they do use the jungle.
Yeah, they do get a pick off there. I mean, just getting the Gale on the Nyx Assassin and delaying him, the rank 1 spike carapace isn't going to be enough, and even he had stick charges, but there was no point in using them because so much damage from the Visage to follow through.
But if he might die again, I don't think so. He's got a support there. But yeah, using the jungle, stacking up the jungle almost every camp, and not only does it give your solo mid a little bit of chance to catch up, or your carry a chance to catch up, but at the same time, denying yourself to creeps. I mean, if you have a heroes in the jungle stacking and he gets sort of ganged by a solo mid or something, he runs into a 3-stack camp. He can deny himself very, very, very easily. So that was one point brought up last night that I found extremely interesting, and it's something that I don't really often see. Oh, bottom lane, Polishima going to get brought down again.
Yeah, well, Salve, that might be enough now. They cancelled Disruptor or auto attack, and that's going to be a nice little pick off for them. I think actually Lakel's didn't realize they was going to pop the kinetic field, because that actually would have been a lot easier of a kill, not having to dive the tower if he had just continued right-clicking, essentially. But backed off for a second, does take a lot of damage in the process, but that Ring of Health and Salve will bring him right back up to snuff. But yeah, like you said, they're being very active about the, oh wow, actually top lane, that's a dead Visage. Fish right here is going to get hit hard. They're going to go for 2 here. They're going to lasso up Ghost, deal damage to Visage, and in the end they're going to get both of them. So very, very nice. A ton of much needed experience for Nyx Assassin, and are they going for 3, really? The Luna actually hightails it out of there to the west with her advanced movement speed, and they're not going to be able to pick her off in that regard because she has the night vision, they do not. But
Yeah.
Even so, that was very nice dive from AABBAA, just showing that Batrider is still a very worthy pick in this meta.
That is... and look at it, look at the timing.
That's just insane.
Look
Blink
at the timing.
dagger
6
before
minutes,
7 minutes.
Yeah, sort of before 7 minutes. Blink dagger. I mean, that is, like I said, I'm going to go back to it again because it makes me sound really smart now. If you have a player that knows how to play Batrider, and I guess you could maybe call ABBA lucky in getting that first blood, but it's not. At this level of Dota, it's not down to luck. I mean, this decision making is so critical in these professional teams, and we see it coming out again. And now with him rotating with that Blink dagger up, 25 seconds on lasso, it gives Mashimaru a chance to farm up in the middle lane, get his levels up, get his level 6 up, and that, him having his level 6 prior to the supports having all their levels to sort of give them that head start in the team fight that ADN do have. With that level 6 up now soon on Mashimaru, it's going to completely nullify their effectiveness in taking big team fights and pushing towers, which is sort of the core strat, I think, behind ADN at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, when there's a blink bat on the field, you don't feel safe just about anywhere, especially when daytime is about to strike here in just 2 seconds. Now they have so much vision with Firefly, they can come in from any angle. They're about to have Vendetta up on Nyx Assassin, and you're very vulnerable. And of course, actually, well, I'll talk about that in a second because I think the burst is going to come out. They're going to start on Luna here. Will she even get a chance to eclipse? She's going to try to pop it. No, a perfectly timed impale will prevent it, and glimpsing back the Venomancer, they're going to make it a 2 for 0, giving them such a kill lead at the early stages of the game and creating so much space for Lakels as well. The other Titan is pretty much mono on mono with him with no chance of a rotation. And they're just looking so good. Now Pugna pushing hard on the mid lane, but immediately the second he sees them on that top rune ward is going to be forced back and not going to be able to do too much to the tower in the process.
I guess sort of the saving grace at the moment for ADN is that Pugna is going to get a relatively fast mech. He is still stacking up the jungle quite a bit, unfortunately having the mud golems there, not being able to blast them down. But you know, he did have quite a bad start in the middle, losing out on that kill against Abba. But back to the bottom lane, like I said, I actually wanted to mention this before that big team fight. Oh, actually, look at action top.
This is not good for TNK. TNK is going to just burst it hard. He throws his ulti because it's a short cooldown and wants to do what he can, but yeah, I don't think anything positive happening for MiTH-Trust up here right now. In fact, no Carapace available. Could this be a kill? They will get the Lucent Beam, they will get the Soul Suction, but the Song of the Siren making sure that they won't be able to lock him down. Now, Fish with low armor, they're trying to decide their focus target. They're going to go in, yeah, with the Batrider here, just burning down the Luna. Easy peasy. WTF is going to fall. And it looks like KYT wants to follow through. I don't think this is a wise choice. I mean, he's going to hit by the Plague Ward. It's not going to Carapace proc. But Batrider does have a lasso, and in just 1 second, he'll be right on top of him. This should be another kill if Disruptor comes to assist, but didn't want to dive too deep. Knew there could be TP rotations coming out in just a matter of seconds. And they're just going to say, keep it safe, and that'll just give more time for Lakels to farm. Because right now, they're not just getting kill advantage, they're not just getting tons of golden experience from bringing down the Luna, bringing down the Visage, who is very squishy at this stage in the game, but they're making it so that Lakels can get free time up against the other Titan, burn through his health, burn through his mana, and clear out creep waves, clear out towers. It's exactly what they want from this early game.
One thing I wanted to mention about Lakels before that
Slicks, not in a good spot here. Mana Void, insta-kill. And taking a little extra cash from the ward as well.
Again, I finally get to say what I want to say about Lakels, going for the power treads over just going straight boots into Battle Fury, knowing that he's going to be left alone against Elder Titan, and it's a lane that he should win sort of hands down. He went for the trades, quite rightfully so, and has used them to continuously harass Polishima out of the lane. And that's what I wanted to bring up before the team fight happened about 10 minutes ago, when he had about 1,400 gold in his inventory. So yeah, a smart decision by him going straight into the trades, knowing that he can harass Polishima, having a slight advantage of him in mobility with the trades as well as the blink up to level 4 now as well. But I guess most actions sort of focus on this top lane now, as ADN are looking for something here. They're looking to push. They are gripping up as 4, which is what I thought they might start doing once that mech is up. But anyway, more action.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to kill off an illusion, but really, they've already done a lot of damage to Venomancer. This is a guy that wants to be up close enough to get a good 2 or 3 man Gale off, and that's not physically possible with this health threshold. Now, they will finish off the tower. It was a misfortification by MiTH-Trust. The first mistake of the game, essentially, but might be able to still turn it around. Kinetic Field Static Storm comes out on to Isolated, but he's going to go forward. Lucid Beam and Soul Assumption does get the kill, but XXL in a bad spot. Riptide gonna bring him down to 15 HP, but he still will survive and be able to retreat back home. Now down bottom again. We do see Lakel's just doing work. With that Perseverance, he can sustain a lane, and there's nothing the other Titan can do to fight. KYT lurking in the shadows. Vendetta up. Gonna go right here onto Isolated. WTF in a bad spot. Taking damage from creeps. The best he can hope for is a neutral deny, and it will not come. He gets another pick off. That's your offlaner kill on your carry solo. We saw it earlier today quite a bit, but generally speaking, unheard of, and generally the worst thing that you can imagine in this game.
Looking back at the Lakel's now, he is actually going to get his Battle Fury. And I mean, if you look at the goal graph, it's in terms of the towers being taken down, and this is what I thought might be the saving grace for ADN here, as they try to secure a little bit of...
Oh, really? Oh, wow. That was the best flame break. Slick's caught on a cliff. He doesn't have a TP scroll. And I guess he'd probably lasso him even if he did have the TP scroll. That's sad. That really is.
Dire's top tower is
We're going to keep an eye on him, yeah.
Yeah. Lakel's going to come in. They're going to be able to kill off the Visage for sure. Lasso already pretty much set him up for the death. He actually didn't spend any mana, so the Mana Void does nothing. But Slicks is just going to become a little bit of a Pugna Ward until he gets the TP out, which finally they're able to get to him. So he does, in fact, head home. But it was just a cute little way to make things work for them. That small flame break and the knockback effect.
The what I wanted to say about the before more action breaks out. See, this is where my extremely fast talking comes into play, because I need to get what I need to say out. But yeah, this sort of the looking at the goal graph, it's now jumped up to about 4,000 again for MiTH, but it was down to 1,000 as ADN grouped up to push as 5. It looks like they're going to do the exact same thing here again. So this is their saving grace at the moment. They're going to push as 5. They're going to try to secure a couple of quick kills, quick towers as well. But you know, with that static storm up now, I don't think they're going to be able to do it. And once there's actually Batrider's middle, so they might actually be able to win this fight. And XSL is going to go down here.
Oh, that's such a bad start. You want Visage to stay in the back of these fights, just fire away with a Soul Assumption, get 2 or 3 good ones off, and get enough experience to get to level 6. But dying before the fight begins, it essentially ends this push. Like, yeah, they have the Plague Wards, it does a lot of damage. They have the Lunar Blessing at 2 with Aquila to back it up. They certainly can push, but should is a completely different question. They just don't have the reinforcements to take an actual fight. And this is just, it's continuously delaying them. And you just see these small little misplays from this team that kind of shows their inexperience in Dota 2 specifically. Obviously, they're still working out the kinks. I think they've been only playing for maybe 2 months and only professionally for the past like 3, maybe 4 weeks. So, but anyways, a couple of things that I noticed was obviously the, while we watched Visage probably die on the mid lane. But I noticed that the Magic Stick, of course, didn't come out early enough for Pugna. So I'm thinking maybe he doesn't see that matchup very often, seeing up against a Batrider mid. That's, as we mentioned in the draft, very uncommon to pick that up. So if he is an unexperienced against that matchup, he might not realize how spam-tastic he is and how big the Magic Stick is as far as winning that matchup.
Yeah.
Another thing is they've been casting a lot of spells on Naga Siren illusions. So Mashimaru has just been baiting in over and over. This support Naga Siren has been throwing in one illusion by itself, and they look at that and say, oh, that's something real. We can Lucent Beam it, we can nuke it down with the a couple of combinations of spells, and it's just completely unnecessary. So
the thing about ADN is they do have Sentry Wards up on the Venomancer, and I would think they put them down when they were trying to take a tier 1 tower in the bottom lane. Specifically, prior to that, maybe trying to get a ward sort of behind the tower so they can get a little bit of vision. I think priority for them at the moment will be trying to pick off either the disrupt. There's actually just too many heroes at the moment with the levels that MiTH have gotten from all these pickoffs and all these fights. I mean, you've got Song of the Siren, you've got Static Storm, so their priorities in terms of pickoffs I think are a bit jumbled up at the moment. Their best bet possibly is to try and get a big combination down with the Elder Titan, followed up by Luna ulti, but there might be problems here.
Yeah, looks in a pretty bad spot. Luckily, another ward does force the Batrider back, but he's still caught in the Static Storm, still locked down, the Mud Golem swinging away, And one more right click. Oh no, he's going to go for some life drain onto ABBA, and the Visage Familiars are going to stalk him up. So Vulture's in the sky, a bit of a firefight there, but in the end the TP will be successful. The Pugna will escape and the Disruptor will fall.
Yeah, that was the power of the Pugna Ward there, as I mentioned, casting quite a bit of spells here, but isolated.
KYT actually made a pretty big mistake here. I think he will pay for it, but TPing in ABBA, gonna try to help him out. Yeah, there's no way KYT makes this kill, and in fact he will fall in turn. So yeah, just a bad movement there. Thought that the Luna was far more alone than he actually was. The reinforcements arrived with plenty of time to spare. Mr. Ghost going to go down as he does get glimpsed back in the kinetic field. ABBA going on the high ground here, but running out of Firefly. He force staffs in, just creating a path for Polishima to pursue him down, and that's a big kill. That's a monster kill streak ending. So 1,000 gold going to the Visage, giving him half a mechanism, a medallion. Oh, we already have some medallions, so I guess, yeah, that mech is probably... No, Pugna has a mech, so hell, go for an Aghanims. I mean, that money is very valuable at this stage, and there's so much that a Visage especially can do with it, so... We'll see that come into play in a little bit, but right now we're going to see KYT blinking in, and maybe another misplay. We'll see. The Song of the Siren comes, but why not just wait for that song to get the Impale off? I don't know. So we will see it come through here. They are going to drop the Static Kinetic onto Pugna, and he will certainly fall. But KYT is kind of vulnerable. Has to watch himself. Luckily, no more reinforcements. Fish is probably going to go down solo. Tries to go for... Oh, nice turnaround, actually. That was good for him, and a little bit bad for MiTH-Trust. Like I said, they had such low HP heroes they couldn't commit in full, and now they are just barely going to be able to snag one more kill. Of course, this is all while Lakelz is farming, but still picking off the Naga Siren and kind of trading it at least 1 kill for 2. That's not too shabby.
Lakelz actually gone for the Vlad, so I guess that's kind of adaptive to sort of the pace of what the game is going, knowing that they are going to be continuously now looking to fight 4v5, 5v5 whenever they can, and well, we're going to see how Stater picks up here, and if he drops it, he does actually, he doesn't have his ultimate on cooldown, and actually no mana either is being brought down here by Lakelz.
Yeah, just burning through him easily. He's even, a couple of those swings went to creep, because he knows the cleave effect and how the armor type works. It's just like, he's doing so much damage in the cleave.
We're not going to open that chest again.
Oh yeah, no way I'm opening that kind of worms. But yeah, just getting a lot of damage very directly, and being able to clear out the creep wave as well. He's just ramping up his farm insanely quickly. Like this Blink Batrider, we're like, oh my gosh, that's the fastest Blink, but now he's only at 7,700 net worth compared to Lakel's 10.5. Like that's so good. 10.5k, Yasha coming out. I was actually thinking he would go for one of his older builds, which is actually a heart after the Vlads to tank up and just split push forever, essentially. But the Manta style, of course, is the core item on the Anti-Mage, and that's the one necessity that they are going to focus on now.
Yeah. Well, he did manage to take the tier 2 tower in the top lane, but the Mantis style anti-mage specifically, like I mentioned, he's sort of going at the pace of this game, knowing that they're going to be pushing his 5, and he has the Vlads now, so he has the option of TPing in, whereas usually an anti-mage who maybe at this point of the game doesn't have as much farm as the Kelv may struggle to get involved in a big team fight with his low HP now with a little bit of armor buff. But have a look at this, ADN actually going to pick up the Roshan for themselves.
Yeah, that's actually pretty huge here. I mean, maybe the Batrider could try to lasso somebody out of the pit and find a single pick-off. They're actually going to go in this, despite the Nether Ward being down. Getting that onto Slicks, a lot of damage coming out on him. Yeah, he's certainly going to die. But a little bit of turnaround damage KYT, and they're going to go their separate ways while Lakelz continues the siege of the tier 3 up top. So,
oh my god, he's going to take the tier 3.
Wow, he's not even stopping. Like, why should he? He's just in a great position, can TP before a stomp comes through, and now he's turning around onto Mr. Ghost, and he's gone! 4 right clicks, and the Venomancer is dead. Ding dong. But this is brutal. I mean, I was about to comment on how great it was that ADN were able to get that Roche. They were able to snipe that up and now have the Aegis the Immortal on Luna. But they lost their tier 3. They lost a couple of lives. They got nothing in return, but maybe the Batrider, but at this stage, he's already gotten everything he needs. BOT's Force Staff and Blink Dagger. Like, you're not shutting him down in any capacity. So they get some gold on the Venomancer for that Batrider kill. It immediately goes away with the death to the Anti-Mage. And from there, they just MiTH-Trust takes control of the entire map, even though there's a second life on the Luna.
Well, Luna's actually getting pretty close to that BKB now, about a 300 gold, 400 gold off that BKB. The one thing about the Batrider is he's pretty much set for items for the next sort of 2, 3, 4 minutes. I mean, looking at his, BOTs is sort of a more sort of, if you look at the stats, it's picked up usually more around the, I would say 25, 26 minute mark on a competent Batrider that has had, the normal amount of farm, not this ridiculous 6-minute blink dagger. So he's pretty much set to go for the next 5 to 6 minutes in terms of items. There's options for him now. He can go straight into a Shivas or maybe try to get a Hex if he wants to. But now there's the Mantle Style up on the Kells, and he is in the top lane, causing a bit of trouble.
Yeah, I mean, these racks are exposed. Venomance are the only one to be able to defend, but here's the big fight breaking out. They do catch out the Batrider very nicely down with the Visage Familiars, stunning him out, and they allowed him to nuke him down. Now KYT going to go for a triple impale, no, just a double, but still under the static kinetic, and they're going to bring down maybe 2. The Mechanism tops him off a little bit. They're not done just yet. Nyx Assassin will feed the gem, and they are going to win that fight. However, Lakells makes them pay for the fact that they were even out of their base by pursuing onto the melee racks. Dodges out the stomp though, maybe going back in. Fortifications down, melee racks set at 225 and he wants it. He's gonna take it. Going in, Lakells right clicks and blinks on out. Oh, this is bad. Down bottom, they will pursue, they will find 4 heroes, but it's like, it's a bittersweet victory because of how much they're losing as far as map control. That melee racks is going to hurt them more and more, and this play is right into Lakells' hands.
Yeah, now he has pretty much control of their entire jungle with that lane continuously pushing out with the mega creeps. There's a Venomancer there to protect the tower, but once the creeps reach the high ground again, he's able to jump in. I mean, they're probably going to put pressure onto this tier 2 tower in the middle lane now, so his sort of mobility within the jungle, the mid racks, the mid tier 3, the last rack standing on the top lane as well, there's sort of all these options now, and they don't need him to fight. I mean, they lost that last team fight pretty hectically, but at the same time, they lost the racks, and they're still ahead by 8,000 gold. They're still ahead by 10,000 experience, so unless they're going to group up now as 5 and push hard with the BKB and Aegis of the Immortal still available on the Luna, there are options here, and it'll take maybe 1 or 2 more good team fights like that to really bring this game back. But at the same time, Lakells top lane, unless they go for a base race or something like that, at 23 minutes into the game, it's going to be ballsy, but I think that might even be the option now, unless they do call Lakells back to help push out and help with a team fight here. But there's still a glyph available, so it does buy him a little bit of time, and up he goes.
Yeah, he's going to go right on in. Range racks, no problem at all. They don't even really care about that one because it's still not as valuable, comparatively speaking. And Isolated's going to come on in. He has his BKB Aegis, but he doesn't want to pop any major spells until after the Aegis does pop because he needs to really go for a second life. But Lakells isn't stopping at that. He's going to take Ziggurats in the Dire base, and Luna dropping low. 1 Flame Break or something should finish her off, but that's on cooldown for the moment. But Lakells going in. There's going to be the tier 4 pressure while we do see the fight ensue in here. And all they really have to do is wait out their Song of the Siren, go in for the 7-second sleep, and that's going to give Lakells all the time he needs. They're pinging it out. Let's check the TP scroll status. I'm usually checking the fight status, but right now I'm seeing only 2 TP scrolls. Oh, that's MiTH-Trust. 5 TP scrolls on ADN, but they need to get out of range so they don't get glimpsed or canceled in any other way. So they will be able to retreat out, but Lakells, he just delays his push for like 20 seconds, and the second they leave the base again, he's right back at it. Already taking down the tier 4 on the top half, and chipped away 400 HP off of the secondary tier 4. So Throne is very close to being exposed, and this lane, of course, continuously pushing in means backdoor protection is almost never up. There's nothing you can do against this, and it's very frustrating. And you were talking about base racing, but really, at this stage, they've lost a huge amount of their base, and on top of that, if the Luna especially gets her Naga Siren gets her level 11 and gets the shorter cooldown on Song of the Siren, you're going to be able to just sleep them over and over and kind of go for this build where you continuously lock them in place while Lakells does his thing.
The good thing going for them is they do still have that tier 2 tower standing in the middle, and I have no doubt that MiTH are going to try push in now and take that tower down, as most of the heroes are grouping up in the middle lane. But once that tower goes down, it's open, it's free game. Mid tier 3, as I mentioned, mid tier 3 Raxes are going to go down very quickly, and the tower is still on 400 HP 400 HP gone in the middle lane as well on the tier 4. So it was pretty smart of Lakells to stay and take the towers, although I feel he could have jumped back He could have
Dire's
jumped back
bottom
and he could have
tower
made
has
more
fallen.
kills with the team. Okay, well, more action now.
Yep, we're going to see Mr. Ghost picked off here. He will drop very, very low and actually fall with only just popping the Nova on a couple of people here. They do lock in place pistols. They're just going to go and retreat here. They don't need to continue to fight this one, so they're just going to go in, pop the song as needed, but the familiars are still in pursuit, and they're actually going to get the kill on the Naga. This locks them in place, and they are going to start losing this fight hard. Pursuing onto TNK, they go for the glimpse, but Luna's last right click is fast enough to get themselves a triple kill, bring down 3, only lose the Venomancer, and now pursue onto AABBAA. He's going to blink away, but he's slowed still, and I think they're still going to find him. So this is really, really bad. You can't go off the map anymore. That's a pretty big factor here. He's still going to do his best. I don't know. He might be testing that theory with this Firefly here. That's as close to the boundaries as you can imagine. But anyways, yeah, he will survive, keeping away to safety. But as soon as the Naga dropped, because she was pursued by the familiars, there was really no way that they were going to be able to escape out of the team fight. Meanwhile, Lakel's taking the tier 2 mid, and that's mostly because the familiars are unaffected by the song, and they still had all their charges on their right clicks.
Yeah, and at the same time, Lakel's picks up his butterfly. So it's a 27-minute Battle Fury, Brad's Manta butterfly, and now with the creep sort of pushing in, the tier 2 tower gone in the middle lane, it's fair game. He's just going to blink in all the time, be an absolute annoyance, and there's really nothing that ADN can do unless they continuously kill Juggernaut over and over and over and win team fights right up. Juggernaut, Anti-Mage. They continuously kill Anti-Mage in the top lane and sort of shut him down. And yeah.
Only 4 hits of the 4 staff will survive by 1 HP, and yeah, he's not going to pursue into the base for that one. Nyx might though. KYT gets sheeped up, and this gets very awkward very quickly. Lakel's taking up a few hits with his spell shield, of course being maxed out by this stage, but beyond that, they're just playing objective-based Dota for the most part. Now we're going to go for the last one. Mr. Ghost doesn't have a Nova this time, so they should be able to bring him down, but we do see Mashimaru going in and dropping the Song of Siren. They will kill the Nether Ward, and there's a great kinetic static onto 2. Polishima can do absolutely nothing. The same for the Luna. They both try to buy back. But TP away for TNK. Mr. Ghost dropping very, very low, and Lakel's is actually getting a triple kill right now. He is able to get a kill in the base on the Pugna, and then walk away to live to tell the tale. They've forced 2 buybacks, they've killed 4 heroes, absolutely nothing lost in the process. And that's just how much of an advantage they have right now. You look at the net worth, and it's appalling how much more farmed this Anti-Mage is to this Luna. Luna has a BKB and a Yasha. Anti-Mage has Battle Fury, Vladimir's, Manta Style, Butterfly, Treads, and 3100 in the bank. It's just... There's no contest here. Even after like a triple kill on their Visage, even after winning a couple of fights, it doesn't matter because they've been controlling the base and they've been controlling the farm. Now, 12,000 in advantage for MiTH-Trust.
And at the same time, I mean, if you look at the gold per minute for the Anti-Mage, he's sitting on about 768 XP per minute. I think is probably well above 846 XP per minute. So. This is, I mean, this is pretty much exactly how you want your Anti-Mage to be, exactly how you want Anti-Mage to play. And he hasn't died yet. Okay, they're sitting at 6-0, 605, 312 CS before the 30-minute mark. This is a burning, and this is like predating burning Anti-Mage, and you know, maybe even better at that. But anyway, we might lose TNK here.
Yeah, I think he's pretty much done for. Soul Surfer will finish him off. KYT just overlooks the catastrophe, but look at Anti-Mage. Just look, Lakel's can go wherever he pleases and goes in hard on this tier 3. They have the fortification, but don't want to spend it here. And in fact, the Bat Riders alongside him, they're just going to bring down Polishima, easy peasy. They can't even Roche, not because they're afraid of dying in the pit. It's because they're worried about their base. Lakel's blinks away, deals some damage to one tier 3, a couple of slashes to another. Now we see the Hex come out with the Eclipse, but damage coming in from Lakel's now. He'll just blink away. He could have brought down the Pugna very quickly with that Manta style and the ulti, but all the same, it's just wanting to play that cautious style so he can always create that pressure and always create that space.
We went for the Hex on the Batrider there. I felt Batrider was pretty much going to go down before that force staff, but they should probably turn it around on the Anti-Mage to get the Luna ulti sort of full effect onto the Anti-Mage, even though he had his Manta style popped as well. But they do have options now. I mean, like I said, they seem to, if they manage to kill the Anti-Mage off a few times, force him out to buy back once or twice, and push his buyback time up a lot, they could maybe push out and maybe clear up that top lane quite a bit, but at the moment we see Lakel's just being an annoyance on the top lane and pushing out as much as he can.
Yeah. Now in this position here, Batrider just pop out. No, they're going to go for the song. This is just going to be maybe the fight to end all fights. Getting a good connect static could be the devastating factor. Isolated going to drop down. He has his BKB, doesn't pop it at all, and is going to die. Hopefully he has buyback because he's going to need it as they're just tearing through them right now. Lakel's jumping on the Venomancer, going to finish him off with the Mana Void. And there we go. Luna does not have buyback and didn't pop BKB at all in that fight. Not saying that they were going to win this fight at all because of the amazing initiation of Naga plus Disruptor, the amazing farm of Lakel's, but it's like he didn't even try. Unless there's an Aghanim's on Disruptor. I didn't check that. Is there? Oh, there is an Aghanim Scepter on the Disruptor. TNK picking up the ulti booster and making it so you can't even use items inside the Static Storm. Never mind, it wasn't a misplay by Luna. It was just too much coming out of MiTH-Trust.
Yeah, and at the same time, 821 final GPM for make that 899 GPM for Lakel's on that anti-mage, and I mean that is quite high, and it kind of shows that 32 minute game roughly, 30 to 18, and well played.
Noob anti-mage doesn't even have 820 experience per minute. I don't know. That's just like you need to hit the 900 experience per minute. You're just not farming well enough otherwise. So
yeah. Too many team fights. You had to go for the Vlads to stick with the team fights. It really shut him down a bit in terms of XP, of that 900 XP per minute. So, but unfortunate, Lakel's got to step up your game a bit. But
wow.
That was well played. I mean, I must commend ADN there. They actually, besides the sort of ratty play from the anti-mage in the split push, they held it off pretty well. And I mean, you kind of got a glimpse into their potential in team fight. But I think, just like I said, MiTH-Trust were looking to dominate the lanes in the early stages, and that's exactly what they did. I feel if they hadn't, they would have had a much tougher time. Mm-hmm. But I guess, yeah, MiTH-Trust still really strong.
I think just the strategy from MiTH-Trust, although unconventional compared to what most professional teams are drafting, was just spot on the weakness of ADN's lineup. They were so spell-based, they were so much about getting those big nukes off and stuff like that, and all you have to do is go in for the Naga Siren Disruptor, silence half of them, and Anti-Mage can just tear through them or tear through the base. Initially when I saw the Naga and the Anti-Mage, I was thinking maybe they're going to go for a Valium build-up where they just put them to sleep while Anti-Mage wrecks through their base, and in part that's what happened on top lane, but after they had that Rax advantage, then they started just kind of going for blood a little bit, and it worked out. It worked out very well as they take the game within 32 minutes. 30 to 18 victory. MiTH-Trust take this first game of the best of 3 series over ADN, but still have more games to come, maybe 1, maybe 2, but we'll see if ADN can bounce back and show us what Han Trash is really made of. But thank you guys so much for tuning in to this first game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it as much as we did. Over here, we're Blaze and Congo. I'm over on twitter.com/Blazecasting. He's over at twitter.com/CongoKyle and facebook.com/CongoZA. We will see you guys on the next one. Coming up in just a few minutes.